Okay, thank you. Okay, since the launch of the Landsat satellites in 1970s, satellite data demonstrated the potential they have in providing useful information to support disaster risk reduction. However, can we say today that present-day satellites are fully exploited for disaster risk reduction? The answer, unfortunately, we all know it's not. There are several reasons for this, but the main 3 points are essentially that first, data are not easily accessible, especially in developing countries, but in many cases they're not even acquired. Second, even if they are acquired, data cannot be easily processed because you need very much competence to process them, a good capacity. And third, even when they are well analyzed by, for instance, the scientific or technical communities, this new knowledge, which is generated, not always find its way to the disaster risk managers. So these are the 3 main issues that the Geohazard Supersite initiative, which is a geo-based initiative, wants to address. Geohazard Supersite is a voluntary partnership which aims to demonstrate that we can streamline an efficient process by which the wider scientific community can generate important research results of a direct impact on disaster risk reduction. The partnership typically is formed by data providers, local monitoring agencies, and CEOs space agencies, providing in situ and satellite data. The local and the wider scientific communities acting together to generate new knowledge, and the DRM agencies actually ingesting this new knowledge and providing actions for disaster risk reduction. The process can be streamlined as this. We have this first building block, which are the data. Then we have the value-added chain composed of the different science teams working to generate science products, for instance, hazard assessment products on a volcano, or hazard maps for earthquake, for faults, active faults. All these products need to be validated and verified through a collaborative knowledge processing. So there are lots of tasks that have to be carried out before these products can be provided to the actual risk managers. This process is carried out by coordination through the local agencies, what we call the national authoritative agencies, who take the responsibility of coordinating the consensus product generation, and also are the ones who can easily transfer the knowledge to the risk products in a form to the risk managers in a form that they can understand. The Supersite proposal are, you have to propose to apply to Geo to generate a new Supersite in which to experiment this process. They are submitted by the national Geohazard monitoring agencies and have to be supported by the wider scientific community because they will generate the new knowledge. The proposals are then evaluated by the Supersite Advisory Committee and by the CEOs, and if approved, they will receive data, lots of data. The resources to process this data and to transfer the data to risk managers should be obtained independently by the partners, but they could leverage on the Supersite framework to get this funding. And of course, the cycle must be closed, so the risk managers can and should and must, in fact, provide priorities and requirements for the new science to be generated. This is a list of the presently active Supersites, mostly on volcanoes. There's one in Turkey on a North Anatolian fault. All of them are managed by the point of contact is the managing agency, And as you can see, the managing agency is the main agency, local agency for scientific support to the risk to the civil protection and risk users. I'll show you here a success story for the Supersite initiative on the Bardabung eruption in Iceland, which has been obtained in the framework of the Iceland Supersite. So the Iceland Supersite encompasses about 30 volcanoes in Iceland. This eruption occurred on a main volcano, which is covered by 800 meters of ice. So the main concern at that point, when it started, was that the scenario could be the same of very big eruptions in which magma and water interact and they generate large explosions. So the worst scenario was similar to the Eyjafjallajökull eruption in 2010, which, if you remember, caused disruption of flights all over the Northern Hemisphere for a few months for a total $5 billion damage. And the second important impact was for the global air quality, able to generate a very large impact in the Northern Hemisphere too, as the Laki eruption about 200 years ago. What happened, this is a footprint of the area covered by the Supersite, and you can see this is the area covered by satellite images and the various monitoring networks contributing with data to the Supersite. The eruption started in August 2014 near the Bardabunga caldera, and then moved to the north, and then came back. This is a seismic activity, and then came back in the Bardabunga caldera. So the white area represents the area covered by ice, and if the magma was erupted there, the big explosion could happen there. The images were acquired soon after the start of the eruption. This is the footprint of the various satellite images, mostly radar images. And through processing of the radar images, it was possible to detect the ground deformation, which showed, in this case, it showed that from the Bardabunga area, which is the red spot in the middle of the image, there was moving, transferring of magma along this nearly north-south dike, which was acting like a pipeline, transferring magma from under the ice cap, outside of the ice cap. And the actual eruption occurred when the magma came out of the dike at the north of the ice cap. So the eruption was not explosive because this magma was transferred outside of the ice cap. Again, this real-time GPS data showing the extension along across the dike. And the modeling of this data allowed to extract very important information, which, as is not of interest, directly of interest of the civil protection, which was translated into important information for disaster risk managers and given to the Iceland civil protection agencies. So this coordinated effort included several different teams, international teams, working together. Each one was producing part of these results. They were all coordinated by the University of Iceland, and all the results were in this collaborative effort were cross-validated, compared, and fused in a single model, which was used by the Iceland Civil Protection Agency to provide important information, for instance, for raising or reducing the air traffic alert and the evacuation of people which were put at risk by the subglacial floods, possible subglacial floods. This is the end of my presentation. If you want to submit a Supersite proposal, you can write to Geo Secretariat, or to myself. Thank you very much. I think we have time for questions. No questions. Okay.